Our next presenter and last presenter of the evening is GreenSight.
Thank you, and good evening. As I was coming here this afternoon, I was actually asking myself while parking, what are the chances that I'm going to be the last one? Now I know I have quantified that. Good evening. My name is Panos Lekkas. I am the Vice President in charge of Advanced Telecommunications Systems Development for GreenSight, a Boston company that is planning to disrupt the agriculture industry with artificial intelligence and robotics. Over the last few years, we have developed an aerial intelligence platform coupled with advanced drone technology of ours, which has allowed us to address multiple needs initially of the golf course industry by providing aerial intelligence for golf course superintendents, meaning different payloads on the drones capturing different images that are uploaded to the cloud, and we have artificial intelligence based applications and deep learning and so forth that provides actionable information to the owners of the courses, ultimately translating those into hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings in chemicals, fertilizers, and water out of the operating expenses every year. We're taking this same platform and we're expanding this in our next major challenge, which is automating the aerial application opportunity in agriculture, especially going into broad acre type of environments. U.S. Department of Agriculture is estimating that a little more than 50% of the U.S. Food production is dependent on aerial application. However, this is happening today by manned aircraft flying suicide missions in most cases over sometimes bizarre terrain. Several of those pilots get killed every year. The statistics are absolutely mind-boggling, and that industry is characterized by what we would summarize as dirty, dangerous, and inefficient practices. The market opportunity for disruption of the aerial application is estimated to about $5.5 billion based on numbers from, again, from the United States Department of Education. And it can be done vastly better by using automated, autonomous, advanced drone, therefore aeronautical robotics, which can provide precision in the sense that we can deposit chemicals 20 times more accurately. We don't fly at significant height like an aircraft is obliged to, otherwise it will crash. And the exact maps are generated with highly accurate placement information of the chemicals so the farmer can see what his or her crop is looking like. The precision and the accuracy is translated automatically to, per our estimates, to 50 to 80% less chemicals that are needed in every run. And at the same time, models have been showing that they should be able to expect at least 20% more yield in their crops. I will not neglect to mention that our approach is much better for the environment in the sense that it is vastly quieter as opposed to an aircraft that is buzzing over your head. And of course, there are no human lives that are at risk. In short, our platform is faster, cheaper, better, and easier. We are envisioning creating the modern farming as a service. And that is a model that we're taking for our approach. Starting with an app that we have, which is running on a smartphone or on a tablet, and which is being used by the grower who dials up and books a job, and on a specific date and time, the team and the equipment arrived with a tank truck and 2 personnel, a pilot and a technician. One drone starts immediately delivering the goods while the other one is being prepped, and at the same time the customer is capable of seeing on his or her smartphone real-time map coverage of the operation. We have multiple series of of drones that are capable of carrying different payloads. Much of our work is also unseen in the sense that we're working over the last year, especially and a half, started working with the Department of Defense. And we have several lines of business, but on this specific agriculture disrupting product line, we're using a latest model of a large drone that we've developed from scratch, and which is capable of taking off with 350 pounds, can carry 25 gallons of chemicals, and has the capability of applying those chemicals at the rate of about 60 to 80 acres per hour, which I must say that is about 10 times faster than our closest competitor. And of course, our drones are completely electric, therefore quiet, green, reliable, and safe. In terms of business economics, there is, it's almost night and day comparing a 1 or 2 man manned aircraft type of operation with its very high capex costs compared to our approach. But we are having a couple of dimensions of competitive advantage here. First, in the sense that we are charging very competitive rates per hour. But second, we have vastly better margins. An aircraft and a manned aircraft operation today is working at around 10 to 20% gross margins, while in our case we're starting from 50 to 75. And as we have been very intimately operating with the FAA, we expect to increase those margins.
Nice job. Well done. All right, enjoy the question.
Can you talk a little bit about the rate of application versus the typical crop duster?
The rate of application, you said? All of this is going to be completely programmable on a specific case. What we are doing is we are assessing the situation in the sense that first, the drones are going to, to fly over and assess the environment if the customer so desires. And then based on that, there's going to be, professional agronomists who are going to recommend to the customer that here's how much chemical of this specific type that you need in that specific location of your property. And, based on that, agreement, then there's going to be a second operation that will require doing that. There are specific types of, of crops which enable the dynamic assessment at the same time with the same flight. So in the same operation, when the drone is deployed on the spot, is going to be able while flying to assess, and therefore based on that provide the appropriate quantity of chemicals that have been pre-ordered by the customer.
That's helpful, and I also just a simpler question because you were comparing per hour rates, and so I was just curious. I mean, a crop duster can handle how many acres per hour, and your drone can handle how many acres per hour?
Again, it depends on the model of the of the aircraft. The situation from our side is that the drones are currently capable of flying for 30 minutes. That's why there are two drones that are deployed at the same time. So while one is flying, the other one is being prepped. As soon as the first one is coming at the end of its battery time, it is going to land, and the second one is picking up because it has already been prepped. On the spot, we are swapping the batteries, and it's ready to continue. So it's a continuous operation, in that sense, and therefore we are unlimited because the only limitation we have is how many batteries the truck could carry when it arrives, in that location. As I was saying earlier, the current regulatory regime from the FAA obliges us to, although we have the technology capability already today available to do completely autonomous the flights for multiple drones in the same over the same property, the FAA requires that we only fly one drone at a time and that the pilot be available there remotely to potentially take over control of the drone if something would go awry. We've never seen that. We already have experience with our technology on non-agricultural environments, for example, golf courses, by having deployed them in over 200 sites and with more than 4,500 flights completely autonomous, both in North America and in Western Europe. So we feel extremely comfortable, not only technologically, but also from the regulatory exposure that within the next couple of years, based on on the roadmap that we're seeing from the FAA, that by 2021 we are going to be able to fly two drones supervised by the same two people, which obviously would increase dramatically, double essentially our margins. And then in 2022, we anticipate that two drones can be flown automatically with only one person. Monitoring the situation from the regulatory point of view, which would even increase our margins to 300%. I hope I answered your question.
Could you tell us about your leadership team, please? And do you have any gaps that concern you right now?
We're about 35 people in a very large network of consultants. We're based in Boston, right at the seaport, battling the traffic every morning and every evening, going in and out of town. The founders of the company and the senior managers are all very experienced aerospace engineers, electrical engineers, RF engineers, artificial intelligence experts, embedded software, hardware designers, as well as flight operations people, pilots and so forth. So the team is pretty well staffed, quite experienced in both government and industry applications, and we're bringing global outlook. I myself have worked, I used to be chief engineer at IBM. I have worked all over the globe, in Europe, in Asia, and Japan for many, many years. I'm fluent in 9 languages, so we bring in a rather unusual expertise for a small company.
So, so the first thing I think about on something like this would be cybersecurity. So how would I know how secure this is in terms of hacking or things like that?
In terms of service security, you said?
Cybersecurity.
Sorry, I couldn't understand. Cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Would that make you feel a little better if I tell you that I'm the vice president in charge of communications development? I have about 25 years of experience in battlefield and secure communication systems. I have written 2 books that you can see on Amazon, one of which has its foreword on wireless security, by the way. And its foreword has been written by Admiral Mike McConnell, who was the director of NSA at the end of the 90s and the director of national intelligence under President Bush II. May that give you a little peace of mind?
That helps a little bit.
Thank you.
So I guess the other thing is I noticed that you're looking for bridge money now towards a Series B. Why bridge money? I mean, what types of investment you've had so far, and
we have raised so far about $3.6 million. We are 4 years old. We generated last year about $3 million in revenue. This year we're doubling that, a little more than double. This new product line will, dramatically increase our sales prospects. I was giving here, a little estimate of what we anticipate. We expect $8 million alone from this product line, next year, and that would be quadrupled the following year, purely by the mere mathematics of deploying more such systems. Typically, one of these new drones is expected to bring somewhere between 800,000 and 1 million per year in revenue, based on the current cost cost structure. And at the same time, our company has multiple sources of revenue. Something that we have not been making noise about is our stealthy division of communications. We've been working on a multi-million-dollar contract for Airbus that I'm running, and that provides enough cash for us to not need to go out.
Thank you very much. Well done.
I was going to say, just as a general point, general point, the connotation of bridge usually doesn't have a very good connotation. So, just
Excellent.
for
Thank you.
information.
There, right up.